Hello, my darling, and welcome to day 50 of 100 Days of Self-Love Challenge. 50 days. I just want you to pause for a moment and let that land. And if your inner critic is already piping up, yes, but I've missed days or I haven't done it perfectly, then today's topic has landed just at the right time. Because today we're talking about that voice, that one that narrates your life with far less kindness than you would ever use it with someone else that you love, the inner critic. Now, let's say this right at the beginning. Having an inner critic doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It means that you're human. But letting that voice run the show unchecked, now that's where the damage happens. For so many women of our kind of age, the inner critic has had decades of practice. She's polished, she's persuasive, she sounds like common sense. And she's telling you, just be realistic. But she's not the truth. She's just a habit. And habits with compassion and awareness can definitely be changed. So let's just start by normalizing something. Your inner critic was not created to hurt you. She was actually created to protect you. Somewhere along the way, your brain learned that criticism equaled safety. If I'm hard on myself, I'll do better. If I point out my flaws, no one else can hurt me if I do it first. If I stay small, I'll stay safe. That strategy may have helped you survive earlier chapters of your life, but in midlife, it's exhausting and it's outdated. So, Brené Brown says, talk to yourself like you would someone you love, right? And yet so many of us wouldn't dream to talk to our daughters, our friends, or our colleagues the way we speak to ourselves. And let's just name some of the things that your inner critic might say. You should be doing more. You're falling behind. Other women manage better than you. You've messed this up again. You're too much or not enough. That voice is loud when you're tired. And it's vicious when you're overwhelmed. And it thrives when you're depleted. So today isn't about silencing it forever because unrealistic. But today is about quietening it, turning down the volume, learning to respond rather than react. You know, I call it shit FM because it's one of the voices that makes up shit FM because it doesn't have an off button. It just plays crap to you all day long. But here's the first and most important step. You must separate who you are from the voice in your head. That voice is not you. It's not your intuition. It's not your wisdom. It's a mental pattern. Okay? So when it speaks, instead of arguing with it or believing it, I want you to try something radical. I want you to name it. You could call it the critic, or like I do, shit FM, because honestly, that one's really accurate. You know, or you can give it a name that makes you smile, which immediately takes some of it away. You could call it Sheila, which is so I have a particular type of shit FM who criticizes me and makes me feel small. And it was somebody who always made me feel like I was not doing what I was supposed to be doing. And it was a woman that always made me feel like I wasn't a very good mum and that I was getting things wrong all the time. So and she happened to be called Sheila. So when I have that voice in my head that always makes me feel like I'm not really on top of it as a mother, which is a little bit outdated now because my kids are 18, 20 and 25, that voice is called Sheila. So when I feel like I'm out of control or I'm just not enough, to me, that voice is Sheila. So when I hear that voice, I go, oh, hello, Sheila. And it makes me smile. And when I smile, it immediately takes some of the power away. Okay. So when it pipes up, you say, hear you, but you're not in charge. And that is emotional maturity. That is self-leadership. Mel Robbins talks about creating distance between your thoughts and your actions because you don't have to obey every thought just because it turns up. Okay? Sometimes thoughts are just noise. Now, let's talk about what actually quiets the inner critic. And it's not positive affirmations shouted aggressively in the mirror. Sorry, Mel. Disagree on that one. What quietens the inner critic is self-compassion paired with evidence. Okay? So instead of saying, I'm amazing, when you don't believe it, try, I'm doing the best I can with the energy I have today. Realistic. Okay? Compassionate. Instead of thinking, or instead of saying, I should be further along by now, try, I'm exactly where I am, and that doesn't make me a failure. Instead of, I've messed everything up, try, one moment doesn't define me. These statements don't fight the critic, they soften it. And softness is far more powerful than force. So here's a simple practice I want you to try today, your 50 challenge. When your inner critic speaks, write down what it says, word for word. Get it out of your head and onto paper, okay? Then ask yourself, would I say this to someone I love? Would I? Is this thought a fact or a fear? What would a kinder, wiser voice say instead? You don't need to swing it to toxic positivity, right? You don't need to like Pollyanna and make it all kind of like rah rah rah. You just need to introduce balance, because here's the truth: you cannot hate yourself into becoming someone you love. Just let that one just sit with you for a second. You cannot hate yourself into someone you love. That's powerful, right? Because criticism is not a growth strategy. The most confident, grounded women you admire are not the ones without an inner critic. They're the ones who no longer let it drive. So today, when that voice starts up, and it will, place your hand on your heart and say, I'm learning to speak to myself with kindness. That's it. That's today's practice. I hope that grips you. I'm learning to speak to myself with kindness. And darling, if no one has told you this recently, let me say it to you clearly. You are not behind, you are not broken, and you are not failing. You are evolving, and evolution is rarely quiet or tidy. Okay? And as we move beyond day 50, we are stepping into deeper self-leadership, stronger boundaries, and gentler inner dialogue. And this is the work that changes everything. I'll leave you with this quote from Christine Neff. She's the pioneer of self-compassion. And she says this, with self-compassion, we give ourselves the same kindness and care we'd give to a good friend. So go gently today. Notice the voice. Turn the volume down. And choose to lead yourself with compassion. I'll see you tomorrow, my darling, for day 51. You're doing better, and you're doing far better than your inner critic would ever admit. All right, my love? Love yourself fiercely, and I'm going to see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye, my darling.